Much for your time. I am Sandra Esinamapena. As always, I'm here for business. The strong economic growth recorded by the country over the years has not impacted on poverty reduction. That is according to new World Bank report released in Accra. The report also noted in some regions, especially in the urban areas, income levels have rather declined. It also noted that despite all the programs being implemented in the rural areas, poverty is very high in these areas. Tomomi Tanaka, a senior economist at the World Bank.
I think it makes sense that the growth is happening in the areas where there are already resources and capital. So that's where the economic growth is happening, in the regions like Greater Accra, Eastern region, where there are already resources. And also the government has, local governments have capacity to provide services. And how about the regions which do not have capacities to provide services and access to market and infrastructure? They are left behind because they don't have industry growing, they don't have jobs created. But, the wealthier regions, yes, they are growing. So there is a regional inequality that is the most critical factor that is really affecting the slow poverty reduction or no poverty reduction, even though the economy is growing.
Do you think that policy-wise we have also gotten it wrong in terms of, because I've had several poor programs, even by NGOs and government itself, but is it that we've not gotten it right in terms of the tools that we are using or in terms of the post-program monitoring to ensure that all these policies are getting the desired result?
I think one critical factor is that we should be all coordinating. It's not just the government, but the World Bank and other development partners like United Nations and large donors here in Ghana. We should be all coordinating with each other's programs because, we are not really targeting well the poorest regions or districts. And first, we should have data to show these are the districts that need to be targeted. And then we should coordinate across donors, developing partners. How are we going to support these target areas? Right? And then if the program is not well coordinated, it's all scattered and it reduces the impact. And this is very important. It's not just the government, but as society, developing partners, and also NGOs, CSOs, we should all get together and discuss what would be the best strategy for us to help the government and the people.
The Ministry of Food and Agriculture has taken receipt of a $1 million worth of logistics aimed at supporting the Ghana Fertilizer Expansion program. At the launch of the OCP Foundation, Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Owusu Friakutu, said the funds will be put to efficient use to improve productivity in the agri sector.
$1 million logistic investment by the OCP Foundation, one of the leading fertilizer exporters in the world, includes a mobile fertilizer lab, 4 pickups, 6 motorcycles, as well as an ultra-modern fertilizer laboratory for the Plant Protection and Regulatory Services Directorate of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. The investment, according to the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, is aimed at supporting the Ghana Fertilizer Expansion program. The Minister for Food and Agriculture said the ultimate objective will be to ensure efficient use of farmlands.
For the first time, this country is going to have the benefit of science in the sense that data collection, they collect data sampled from all over the country, as you've seen the kind of logistics that are required. So they've started with an experiment of 100,000 hectares around Busumifrehu in Ashanti region, all the way to Bekwai on the southern side. And once they finish and they analyze, they're going to extend the program to the rest of the country so that we have, for the first time in the history of Ghana's agriculture, a complete mapping of our soils, and that will then determine what kind of fertilizers we need for each different types of soil in order to give us maximum productivity.
A representative of the OCP Foundation, Norfel Rudis, explained the initiative will improve agric productivity.
It is with a great pleasure that we are getting ready to start developing the soil fertility map in the agriculture area in Ghana. Knowledge of soil and their fertility is the first step toward a predictive agricultural development. It improves crop yields while preserving soil health in the long term. Hence, our partnership will focus on a pilot area of 100,000 hectares in Ashanti region.
For Joy Business, Sheila Tamaklu reported.
Venture Capital Trust Fund will soon launch a $50 million city industrial fund to support government industrialization program. Chief Executive of the fund, Yaousu Brimpong, in an interview with Joy Business, argues it will be in the best position to finance some projects under the One District, One Factory initiative, insisting it will actually prevent banks, businesses from actually seeking loans elsewhere. Ebenezer Sabote brought this report from the 4th CEO's breakfast meeting organized by the Ghana Investment Promotion Center in Accra.
The Chief Executive Breakfast meeting offers a platform for the review of some business issues in the year and finding solutions for growth. According to the Chief Executive of the Venture Capital Trust Fund, Yaousu Brimpong, some promoters of government industrialization program are facing financial challenges due to the high interest rates on loans given by banks. He thinks the situation could be avoided if the trust fund was mandated to handle the funding of these factories.
A lot of discussions are going on at a point in time. The 1D1 Secretariat, Venture Capital, because 1D1F Secretariat is under Ministry of Trade and Industry. Venture Capital Trust Fund is under the Ministry of Finance. And that gives, though we are both government, it gives us a bit of challenge. But we have all sat down, discussed those issues, and they all agree that, yes, Venture Capital is in a much better position to be handling the financing of 1D1F. But we have our own budget, and then we also have our constraints in terms of getting enough money to set up more funds. But we've set up one fund. I mean, we are almost at the end of closing one fund, which is a 50 million Ghana cedi fund, and it's called Industrial Support Fund.
The meeting was also used to launch a report of a survey conducted by the Oxford Business Group, which, among other things, revealed that businesses have a positive outlook for the economy moving into next year. Rick Moss is editorial manager of Oxford Business Group.
With some, as we have also had a discussion about some of the things that need to be implemented to make sure that it's really going to be a success for business here in Ghana. Let's see, some of the other topics that have come up have to do with issues that have also come up in our previous surveys about the availability for credit and about the banking sector reforms, where many of the CEOs have said that they see the need for the reforms, and they've seen that this has been a very necessary set of banking reforms and other financial reforms.
The report also indicated that many chief executives are expecting implementation of the Continental Free Trade Agreement to provide a good platform for business expansion. Eben Sabote's report for Joy Business.
Crude oil made some recovery to sell today at $64.45 a barrel, following some 0.73 gain. Gold, however, dropped in price to trade at $1,468.95 an ounce. The market update is up next in Commodity News. We'll end business here tonight to make way for the much talk about documentary Scars of the Revolution. But you can get more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. I am Sandra S. and I'm up and do stay tuned.